All right, in this video, we're going to be talking about multiplying fractions. And if you watched the con video from yesterday, it should be pretty straightforward in which that we multiply straight across. So multiplying fractions is similar to multiplying whole numbers in a fraction. So we multiply straight across the numerators, 3 times 1, and then we have our multiplication of 5 times 2, and so we get 3 over 10. It's that simple, but let's do some practice problems. So, Franco ate some pizza. 2/3 of a pizza is left. Deandra ate 3/4 of the leftover pizza. How much of the whole pizza did Deandra eat? So, what we're trying to do is find 3/4 of 2/3. Now, there's a key word in here that I want to make sure that I point out, and it's the word of. When we see of, that means to multiply. So 3/4 of 2/3 is the same as 3/4 times 2/3. So one way we can do this is simply multiply, then simplify. So again, we simply multiply straight across 2 times 3, and we have 4 times 3. So 2 times 3, I'll finish that highlight. 2 times 3, we do get 6, and 4 times 3, we get 12. Now, remember that other part, then simplify? Well, this is where we need to find a common factor, preferably our greatest common factor. Remember those old lessons that now come back and we have to use them? Yeah, GCF, our greatest common factor. So when I divide by the greatest common factor, and here we have it as 6, I mean, we could look at this and they're even, so we could divide by 2, but I would be doing this over and over and over again. But if I find 6 as a common factor, remember 6 over 6 equals 1. So I'm not changing the value of it, I'm simply simplifying it. So 6 divided by 6, we get 1, because 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 12 divided by 6, we get 2. Just like 6 over 12 is half, she ate half of the whole pizza. The other way that we could do this is our simplify first approach. And here we have to kind of look at it and say, well, 3 and 3 down low. The 3 and the 3 cancel out. I could factor a 3 out from each. And then I could look at this and say, well, 2 and 4, they're both even. So I can factor a 2 out from each of those and say, well, 2 and 2 is 1. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I'm left, again, with, I need to look at this and say, well, 1 times 1, I get 1. And then I have 2 times 1, and I get 2. In the end, I get the same answer, 1/2. It all depends on how you see the problem. Let's do another example here. So find the area of a rectangle. And you've seen a few of these within Prodigy practice, but we're going to find the area of a rectangle with a length of 3/4 and a width of 5/9 of an inch. So one way is we can use a tile method, and this would be more illustrative, and it's not exactly the most efficient, but we can visually see it. So in our tile method, I see that I have 5/9 because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of these, and 5 of them are shaded. And then I have 3/4 shaded this way, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and so 3 of those are shaded. The overlapping where they both match is our section that would be the area. So I look at this and say, well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 tiles shaded. Now, the question though is, out of how many? Well, it was 9 by 4 originally, so that means that there are 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 4 is 36, so that is our denominator. And here we have 15 over 36. Now that may look like, I can't simplify that, but again, I need to find common factors. What is a common factor between 15 and 36? Well, 3 is. And so I can factor a 3 out of each of those. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 36 divided by 3 is 12. So we have an area of 5/12. So that's one way that we can do this, and that's more of a visual way. The other is simply multiply it straight across, just like example 1. So 3/4 times 5/9. Again, I'm going to simply multiply it straight across. Do that with my numerators, and I do it with my denominators. So 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 9 is 36. Again, I'm back to my 15/36. I factor out a 3 from each. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 36 divided by 3 is 12. Simplify, and I get 5/12. It's up to you on which way you go. I like to just multiply it straight across. However, if drawing out your model of it helps you understand it a little bit better, more power to you. Anyways, I'll do a guided practice with you. So find 1/7 times 1/2, and then write it in simplest form. And this 4-letter direction is critical. Write in simplest form. That means you need to factor out and reduce it until you can't factor out anything else. And that has to be for both the numerator and the denominator. Anyways, 1/7 times 1/2. Again, I multiply straight across. 1 times 1, I get 1. 7 and 2, I get 14. So 1/7 and 1/2 is 1/14. Now, I can't simplify that any further, so our answer is 1/14. Let's do a few model examples here, just for those of you that are more visual seeing this. So 5/6 times 3/4. Well, I'm going to look at this and I say, well, 5/6. Again, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows here. I'm going to shade 5, 6 of those. So I have these 5 here, but I'm going to only shade 3/4 of the rows. So how many total do I have? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of those. So I have 15 out of, and 4 times 6, because there are 4 and there are 6 here. So that's 24 total pieces. So 15 over 24. Now, I need to make sure that we are doing this in simplest form. So I have 15 over 24. I can factor out a 3 of each of these. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So I have 5/8 as my answer. I'll jump down to a straight multiplication across as our last example. Let's do this one in purple. So 3/5, we'll do our number 5 here. So 3/5 times 5/6. Again, I'm going to multiply straight across. And 3 and 5, I get 15. 5 and 6, I get 30. I'm going to make that my fraction. So 15 over 30. Again, critical direction is write it in simplest form. So I need to simplify. What number can I factor out of 15 and 30? Well, let's do this the hard way. I'm going to say 15 over 30 because some people don't look at it right away and say, oh, 15 works. But I could look at this and say, oh, well, 5 and 0. It makes 5 a hero. I can divide each one by 5. So 15 divided by 5, I get 3. 30 divided by 5, I get 6. And then I look at this and say 3, 6. Well, oh, I could factor out a 3. Hopefully you see the answer already. But 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So my answer is 1/2. I hope this helps explain lesson 10.6, multiplying fractions. Let me know if you have any questions, but please check Canvas for more practice in multiplying fractions.